So as I approach my end here, I've determined that this 9" is going to be the last of my actual lighting run. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and measure what's next here. And we're going to go ahead and cut a little piece of spacer to go in there. One thing you always want to remember with the product is we talked earlier about the circuit board inside it being coated and waterproof. The inside of the electrical connection is not necessarily waterproof. What makes it waterproof is when you plug the two cords together, the seal around the two cords makes it waterproof. So it's very important for the longevity of your product and ensure that it works every time, that when you get to the end of your channel, you use one of these end caps. So I'm going to take that. We should have, as we talked earlier, we should have the female wall outlet looking piece, the power side, at the very end of our run. I'm going to go ahead and just take this little block off plug, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it in there. And now I've made that end waterproof to keep the water out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and before I even mount it up there, I'm going to plug this in. I'm going to go ahead and tuck it into the light, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish my run. If this had been my last piece, like if this would have been the very end of it, then I would also clip an end cap on, but because I'm putting the spacer, I'm going to put the end cap on the spacer and put the spacer on the back side of it. So here we go, and this is our last light on this run. And tuck that wire in there. And as I'm clipping them in, I'm always pushing them towards the other light to make sure that that gap between the lights stays next to nothing, so they butt up nicely together. I like to stop short of the end of my track just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, so that when I put that end cap that we had talked about is keyed the same way, it helps, once that end cap clips into that track, it helps retain the end cap so you're not going to lose that end cap. So it looks like my length here is 3 3/4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of spacer at 3 1/2 just to ensure that everything stays put and it gives us a nice finished end. And because I've crawled up to this awkward angle on the roof here, I'm going to go ahead and have my lovely assistant Vanna Chris here cut that piece of spacer for me. Vanna McCoy. Check out how he uses that chop saw with such grace. So thanks to Chris, I've got my piece cut without having to actually move out of this position. I'm going to go ahead and he put a end cap on it for me. He actually chose, because you can't see the end, it dies into the roof. He actually chose to use the cap that has the hole in it so that we're not collecting any unwanted water. The product is waterproof inside, but at the same time, we don't want to necessarily collect water. So we're going to go ahead and clip that in, and that gives us a nice finished look.